Hello guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. This is Jia Verma from Lark Immigration, and today in this video I'm going to discuss about active and passive voice. You will get to know all about active and passive voice, like how to change active into passive or how to change passive into active, and also you will get to know about different type of rules or with different type of tenses, that which rule we have to use when we are given with the present tense or which rule we have to use with the past tense or future tense. So let's start without wasting any time. So in this video what we are going to learn, the topic 1 will be rules for changing active voice to passive voice, and also I'll give you some examples. Then topic number 2 will be passive voice, that passive voice in the present and past tense. Topic number 3 will be rules for changing passive voice to active voice, and also with examples. Topic number 4 will be rules for present simple tense, present continuous tense, present perfect tense. Topic number 5 will be rules for past simple tense, past continuous tense, and past perfect tense. Topic number 6 will be rules for future simple tense and future perfect tense. Topic number 7 will be exceptions that are not included in the above topics. So let's get started with our topic number 1, that is rules for changing active voice to passive voice, that how we can change a sentence that is written in the active voice to a passive voice. It is very easy to change an active voice to a passive voice. What we have to do, firstly we have to change the structure, so the object in the active voice becomes the subject in the passive voice. Secondly, we have to use the verb to be in the same tense as the main verb in the active voice. Lastly, what you have to do is to use the past participle of the main verb. For instance, there is a sentence that is given in the active voice, that people drink champagne on New Year's Eve. And now if we want to change the active voice into the passive voice, so what we have to make the sentence like, champagne is drunk on New Year's Eve. What we have done, जो इसका ऑब्जेक्ट था वो हमारा पैसिव का सब्जेक्ट बन गया, दैट इज शैम्पियन, और यहाँ पे हमने क्या करा, वी हैव चेंज द वर्ब, हमने वर्ब चेंज कर दी, वर्ब की थर्ड फॉर्म यूज कर ली हमने यहाँ पे इंस्टेड ऑफ फर्स्ट फॉर्म. द सेकेंड एग्जाम्पल इज दे रेनोवेटेड द रेस्टोरेंट इन 2010. तो इसको अगर हम पैसिव वॉइस में कन्वर्ट करेंगे, द रिजल्ट विल बी द रेस्टोरेंट वॉज रेनोवेटेड इन 2010. द सेम थिंग, वी हैव मेड द ऑब्जेक्ट ऑफ द एक्टिव वॉइस the subject of the passive one. The third example is Surya painted the wall yesterday. How we will change it? The wall was painted yesterday. Now we are moving to topic number 2, that what will be the rules for the present and past of the passive voice. Okay, if I talk about the present, when the sentence is in the present tense, the passive voice uses is or are with the past participle of the main verb. Passive voice present is used for describing processes or general thoughts, beliefs or opinions as well. If I talk about the past, like in case the sentence is given in the past tense, so the passive voice uses was or were with the past participle of the main verb, and it is used when we are taking about events in history we are talking about events in the history or crimes and accidents that took place in the past. Now let's move to topic number 3, that are rules for changing passive voice to active voice with example. So the rules for changing passive voice to the active voice are, the first one is first of all we have to find the agent in by the or who or what is acting, and once we have identified that who is acting, make that agent the subject of the sentence. The third rule is that you will then have to change the verb accordingly, like we have done in the active to passive one. For instance, there is a sentence that is given in the passive voice. The book is being read by the class. Now the active sentence of this will be the class is reading the book. Passive, another example of the passive voice is results will be published in the next issue of the magazine. The active voice of this sentence will be the editors will publish the results in the next issue of the magazine. Then the third example is mistakes were made, and then active voice of that will be we made mistakes. So now let's move to topic number 4, that are the rules for present simple tense, like present indefinite tense, present continuous tense, present perfect tense. So if I talk about the active voice and passive voice, in the active voice the rule will be subject. It is for the present indefinite tense. Subject plus verb, first form of the verb plus s and es plus object. It is the normal rule that we usually use in our daily life, like whenever we are making any sentence in the simple present tense. And the passive voice will be object plus is am plus third form of the verb plus by and then subject. And if we are making a negative sentence of the same tense, like present indefinite tense or simple present tense, at that time the common rule is that subject plus do does plus not plus first form of the verb and object. But if we are changing that thing into the passive voice, at that time what we have to use, object plus is am are, that are the helping verbs. After that not, then third form of the verb, then by, subject. The last is when we are making an interrogative sentence. At that time, what is the common rule? Does plus subject, does and do plus subject plus first form of the verb plus object and then question mark. But when we are changing that particular interrogative sentence into the passive voice, at that time what we will change in it, that we will use the helping verbs first, that are is am are, then object, then third form of the verb plus by subject and then question mark. So let's take a look to the examples of these rules. The first example is he reads a novel, and the passive voice of this will be a novel is read. The active voice example is given, the next active voice example is he does not cook food. This is the negative sentence, and the passive voice of this will be food is not cooked by him. The last is interrogative one, does he purchase books, and the passive voice will be are books purchased by him. Let's take a look of the tense, present continuous tense. The common rule for the present continuous tense is subject plus is am are plus first form of the verb, then ing and object. But when we are changing that particular sentence that is written in the present continuous tense, we will use the rule of passive voice, that is object, then helping verb, then being with third form of the verb plus by and then subject. The second rule, when we are making a negative sentence in the same tense, that is present continuous tense, the common rule that we usually use is subject plus helping verb is am are plus not plus first form of the verb with ing and then object. But when we change it into the passive voice, the sentence will be in this order, that object plus helping verb, then not, then being, then third form of the verb and by subject. The last one, that is interrogative. So it will be is am are plus subject plus verb, first form of the verb plus ing plus object and then question mark. It is the common rule that we use, but if we are changing it into the passive voice, at that time we will use is am are plus object with third form of the verb and then by subject then question mark. Let's take a look to its examples. So the first example that is given in the active voice is Isha is singing a song. इसका passive voice क्या होगा? A song is being sung by Isha. The second example is Kritika is not chopping vegetables. इसका passive voice क्या हो जाएगा? हमने क्या करना है? सिर्फ we just have to make the object of the active voice to the subject of the passive one. Vegetables are not being chopped by Kritika. The third one is Ritika buying a table. इसका क्या बनेगा? Is a table being bought by Ritika. Now we are talking about present perfect tense. So the rule that we use in our daily life to make simple sentences in the active voice is subject plus has have plus third form of the verb and then object. But if we will change it into the passive voice, what will be the formation of this sentence? It will be object plus has and have, that is helping verb of this tense, plus been plus third form of the verb then by subject. The second one, negative one, will be object plus has and have plus not plus been plus third form of the verb and then by subject. And the last one will be also like the previous one, has and have like helping verb plus object plus been plus third form of the verb and then by subject and question mark. There are some examples that are given here. Like the first example is Nitesh has challenged her. इसका पैसिव क्या बनेगा? She has been challenged by Nitesh. Next is Radhika has not written an article. इसका पैसिव क्या बनेगा? An article has not been written by Radhika. The third one is the have they left the apartment. The passive voice will be has the apartment been left by them. So now we are moving to topic number 5, and in this topic we are going to talk about rules for past simple tense, past continuous tense, past perfect tense. So let's move. So now we are talking about, first of all we will talk about simple past tense or past indefinite tense. The rule is subject plus second form of the verb plus object. There is no helping verb in the active voice. But when we change it into the passive voice, at that time the formation will be object plus helping verb, that will be was or were, then third form of the verb, then by and then subject. The second is when we are making a negative sentence in the past simple tense, the rule is in the active voice subject plus did not plus sorry, first form of the verb plus object. And when we are changing it into the passive voice, the rule will be object plus was and were plus not, then third form of the verb and then by and subject. The last but not the least, that is interrogative. It is did plus subject plus first form of the verb plus object and then question mark, that is necessary. And after changing it, the consequence will be was were plus object plus third form of the verb plus by subject and then question mark. So let's take a look to its examples. The first example is Reema cleaned the floor, and the passive voice of this will be the floor was cleaned by Reema. Aisha bought a bicycle. इसका बताओ क्या होगा? इसके अंदर भी हम बिल्कुल सेम रूल यूज़ करेंगे कि हमारा जो ऑब्जेक्ट है एक्टिव वॉइस का, वो हमारा पैसिव का सब्जेक्ट बन जाएगा. अ बाइसाइकिल वॉज बॉट बाय आयशा. The last one is the Naman called my friends. So the answer will be my friends were called by Naman. Now we are talking about the past continuous tense. The first rule is subject plus was and were plus first form of verb plus ing and then object. The passive voice of this will be object plus was were plus being plus third form of the verb, then by and then subject. And if I talk about the negative sentence of the past continuous tense, the rule is subject plus was were plus not plus verb, first form of the verb plus ing and then object. And if we will change it to the passive voice, the sentence structure will be object plus was and were plus not, being, then third form of the verb and then by subject. The last one is the interrogative. Again it will be the same as the previous one, was were plus object plus being plus third form of the verb and then by subject and then the question mark. The examples are Nikita was painting the wall. The answer will be the wall was being painted by Nikita. Manish was repairing the car was being repaired by Manish. Were you reciting the poem? Was the poem being recited by you? Or being recited, it is enough. Now let's move to the past perfect tense. The first rule is like when we are making a simple sentence, and that time the rule is subject plus had plus third form of the verb plus object. And if we will change it to the passive voice, the rule will be object plus had been plus third form of the verb plus plus by and then subject. When we will make the negative sentence in the same tense, the structure of the passive voice will be object plus had not plus been, then third form of the verb and then by subject. The last will be had plus object, then been, then third form of the verb and by subject, and again question mark. Examples are Misha had cleaned the floor. The floor had been cleaned by Misha. Vidhi had not received the parcel. The parcel had not been received by Vidhi. Had they caught the thief? Had the thief been caught by them? And then question mark. So now let's talk about future simple tense. So the sentence for the simple sentence, the rule for the simple sentence is subject plus will plus first form of the verb and then object. And if we will change it into the passive voice, at that time the rule will be object plus will be plus third form of the verb then by subject. If we are making a negative sentence, at that time the passive voice rule will be object plus will not plus be plus third form of the verb then by subject. And in the interrogative sentence, the structure will be will plus object plus be, then third form of the verb by and then subject, then question mark. There are some examples related to this. Let's take a look. The first one is the Kriya will sew the bag. The bag will be sewed by Kriya. Disha will not arrange the things. The things will not be arranged by Disha. Will you mop the floor? Will the floor be mopped by you? Let's talk about future present perfect tense. The active voice rule for the simple sentences subject plus will plus have plus third form of the verb and object. And if we will change it into the passive voice, the formation of the sentence will be like object plus will plus have been plus third form of the verb then by subject. If I talk about the negative sentence in the same same sentence, that is future perfect tense, the active voice rule is subject plus will plus have not plus third form of the verb plus object. And if we will change it into the passive voice, the formation will be like object will be the first one, and then will, then have, then not been, then third form of the verb, and subject. If I talk about the interrogative one, the rule will be will plus object plus have been plus third form of the verb plus by subject and question mark. So there are some examples that are related to it. So let's have a look. Nimesh will not have changed the table cover. The answer will be the table cover will not have been changed by Nimesh. Will she have written the notes? The answer will be will the notes have been written by her. So thank you so much. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel. That's all for today, and I hope that you like this video very much and it will help you a lot in your career. Thank you.